Hey, it's Lee, and this is episode 55 of the Red Pilled Orange Pill Investor. And I don't know, I guess maybe it's my first Twitter beef, I'm not exactly sure. But I got into it with a guy who was as delicately as possible was encouraging people not to pay their taxes. And I take offense to that suggestion, not because a straight, square, frickin' American, uh, America guy. I've been an anarchist for quite a while, and I was thinking about going down that road at some point. Taking some kind of moral stance. I'm not going to fund bombing people or any number of things. However, I'm long since over that phase, and I'm not a financial advisor, so I don't give financial advice. I'm not a tax advisor, so I don't give tax advice either. But if if you owe some taxes, you gotta pay them. I mean, and then some people will say, "Oh, well, the only reason you're doing it is to stay out of jail." Yeah, well, no shit. You're supposed to stay out of jail. Who was it? The Chris Rock said that folks like to brag about things that they're supposed to do. Somebody says, "Oh, I never been to jail," and he said, "You ain't supposed to. You ain't supposed to go to jail." Like that's not something to brag about. And and I came to that conclusion years ago before there was even Bitcoin. But now there is Bitcoin, and people like to say Bitcoin fixes everything, and in a sense, it does. It just hasn't fixed everything yet. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. It just stops ruining everything. It's not that it necessarily fixes everything, but it stops ruining everything. Fiat money pretty much ruins everything it touches. That's why we have the military industrial complex, the medical industrial complex, the food industrial complex, the censorship industrial complex, and the pharmaceutical industrial complex, the the misinformation industrial complex, aka the media. And I've been listening to, and it's funny because this guy mentioned, it was a dig on against me. It's like, oh, well, you haven't read Soft War, and it's funny, kind of a coincidence. I just finished over a half dozen interviews with the author of Soft War, excuse me. It's a play on words of software, and Jason Lowery, and it was an eye-opening series. Go to Breedlove's YouTube channel, What Is Money series, and look for the Jason Lowery series. I have not been that intrigued since the Sailor series. I felt like Sailor just laid it all out, and now I know everything there is to know about Bitcoin and the history of energy and the human race. But this guy takes it back to all of life, how power projection from the beginning of life, like when when inanimate objects starts to turn into frickin' living proteins, it started uh, developing the means to manipulate its environment to its benefit. And he started there, and where he ended, the guy's like a fucking officer in Space Force, and where he ended is he's now working. It was a national strategic imperative, I think is what he called it, and it's like one of the most serious designations that you can put on something, and he wants the government to take steps to start defending the country with Bitcoin. And so it's kind of funny when I mean, it was just a couple of months ago when I'm in the sauna with a guy that I see in there all the time, and I'm like, we can talk about football or Bitcoin, you guys choose. And this guy was like, please don't talk about Bitcoin. You know, he called it monopoly money. And it's just kind of hilarious that the SEC's approved ETFs. I mean, before that, they had even stated that they considered Bitcoin digital property. And, you know, unlike all the shit coins that are basically unregistered securities, aka illegal. And once any of that stuff does get approved, even if they register and become legal securities, they're still securities. They're not digital property like Bitcoin. So they're still fucked. They're going to have to open up all their books and reveal all the scammy shit that they've done, like pre-mines and all of the people that all their little cronies that and VC capitalists that they've enriched with coins for when they artificially inflate the price. But anyway, I don't know if that was a bit of a tangent, but pay your damn taxes. I mean, they're only charging you taxes. I mean, I guess at least for now, they're only charging you taxes in fiat money anyway, and that shit's fucking worthless and getting worth less all the time. So stack your sats and don't worry about their little piddly taxes. You know, obviously, get all the tax loopholes you can. I mean, everybody is entitled. If they're offering a deduction and you qualify for the deduction or the credit or the blah, blah, blah. I mean, TurboTax holds my freaking hand and just walks me through the steps. So I'm sure if you want to, like, squeeze every little penny, you'll have to put some work into it. But I guess we're back to proof of work again. You've got to do some work if you want to actually get some benefit. And this guy, I mean, just me being, you know, giving the guy his due, he's got way more followers than I do. I'm like a nobody on Twitter, on X. And but that kind of represents to me what Jason Lowry was criticizing in a lot of his videos. I still got to read the book. It's on my TBR. But he basically said that when someone is in charge, it's just kind of like a fake power. And they only have power because we accept that they have power. So it's kind of like proof of stake. You're just powerful until someone calls your bluff. And so that's kind of the way that I felt about it is he's using his proof of stake shitcoin power. I mean, the guy seems to be a Bitcoin maximalist, but for some reason he's got a chip on his shoulder about, you know, not paying your taxes. Maybe he's like a sovereign citizen type of person or whatever. But yeah, I can't imagine when you have something like Bitcoin, the most playfield leveling invention in the history of life, not even just mankind, but life itself. We now have a way to do battle and war without injury. You don't have to get yourself killed in a war. You can just defend your property, your digital property, with your encrypted keys, and everyone else in the network wants to protect their property, so they have to protect your property along with it. How do they describe it? Nuclear war is mutually assured destruction, but Bitcoin is mutually assured preservation. And so when you finally have this tool available to you, we've already won. Everyone who's stacking sats has already won the war. And this guy's saying, okay, we've won the war. Now go and storm this beachfront and die and get yourself arrested. And I just don't understand how that makes any sense. And you know, I mean, the guy seems to believe what he's saying, so you know, I give him a little bit of credit for that. But it just seems like that's that's one of the roads, forks in the roads that I considered many years ago, and it's self-serving to say it this way, but maybe just evolved past it or grown up since that moment. Uh, you know, you start researching sovereign citizens and you know, just not licensing your car, not registering your car and having plates and putting paper plates on them and recording yourself getting pulled over, and you can see enough people with their windows shattered and dragged out of their cars to know that that sovereign citizen shit doesn't fly. So you just work within the framework and you let Bitcoin do its thing, and you do not have to sacrifice yourself. It actually reminds me of another saying that I've taken to heart, and there's a YouTube channel called Ryan Stone, and one of the things he says a lot is, you don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. And I think a lot of, I don't know, a lot of traditional conservatives get caught up in it, but a lot of people who, giving them a little bit of benefit of the doubt, they mean well, and they are, maybe you could just call them true believers in a certain cause. And then I think that allows you to be a little bit too easily manipulated by people to get you to put yourself at risk while they remain in safety. And so, you know, this guy that was saying this in this video is saying, you know, look, you might have to not pay your taxes and risk getting arrested or whatever. And I'm like, that shit does not make any sense. There's no reason to turn the eye of Sauron in your direction and have evil focusing their attention on you. Stay safe and stack sats. And I think that's it for now. Be good, y'all.